everybody. Welcome back to First and Last. My name is Josh, and this week we've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What's up?
Hello, shoulder dancing spaghetti boy.
Yeah.
That's what Jimmy was
I'm
doing.
just gonna do weird stuff over here to see if I can get you guys to crack up that no one will know what's happening.
I'll just put a Post-it note over my computer screen where you are, so I won't ever be able to tell.
Man.
It's all right. How's everybody's weeks going?
Best ever.
Yeah, fine. I don't know. My dog's been kind of an asshole.
Asshole dog.
What's she doing?
She just doesn't. She's in this. I don't know if it's like a teenager. She's 6 months old, and she just will not listen to me right now. Like it finally is like warm enough. Took her outside to the dog park. It's been like a while. It's been like below freezing for a while, so didn't take her out there, and she just bolted from me, and I spent an hour just like trying to grab her after that.
Like in the little, or I don't know, I guess I don't, how big the area
it's a big place.
Of the dog park is?
It's a big place. There's like woods. Like, she's gone.
But it's all fenced in at least.
Yeah.
Just like, oh God, this is too big. There's no way.
Good times.
That's nice. I mean, I texted you, Jimmy, the other day. I forget when that I, for some reason, had decided to watch all of the X-Men movies.
Ooh.
Yes.
Even like the side character movies?
Yeah, today I watched X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
I
streaming.
I started it yesterday.
That's like the bad
asleep,
one,
so
right?
I finished it.
It's so bad.
I mean, I think both the Wolverine Origin movies are the bad one, I think.
The second one, the like Tokyo one, isn't as bad, and then Logan's like real good.
Oh, Logan's good, yeah, that's for sure. But that's not like a Origin one.
The most recent X-Men one is real bad.
The Dark Phoenix?
Dark Phoenix is pretty bad.
I haven't even seen that one.
It was on HBO. I don't know if it's still streaming, but and then I haven't seen the
New Mutants
with Maisie. Yeah, New Mutants. So where are you, Josh, in the?
Well, so I watched 1, and then I watched X2, and then I couldn't figure out where. I basically just didn't want to bother finding how to watch Last Stand, and then just
I'll run it over.
And then just the next one in line would have been X-Men Wolverine Origins, the one I watched. So I just watched that one.
Oranges.
It's so God, it's the worst name too. So I watched that one. So really, I went out of order. I have to go back and watch Last Stand.
Okay.
But even just those 4 movies, like there's no continuity whatsoever at all. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, characters are the same. People
like sort of
actors play the same characters.
Yeah, I guess that's the continuity. But
also, you gotta watch Last Stand because not Brendan Fraser. Fraser.
He's Beast.
Is Beast.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer
I forgot.
is Beast, and he's an excellent Beast.
Yeah, I do like him as Beast. It's funny. Also, one of the best lines in all of the X-Men series is in Last Stand. I'm pretty sure it's in that one, and it's "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." I think that's the
actually says it.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
That's gonna happen.
One of the best. Oh yikes!
It is funny in this Origins one. They definitely had like people in it that are like, oh, like that's like who's the diamond skin lady that was played by January Jones and
Emma Frost.
Yeah, she's like in this one, but like they never really name her, but she's just there for a second. It's just weird stuff like that where it's like, is this gonna work with like First Class? Is this gonna make any sense now when you're in that movie? But this is an exercise in mostly patience. I'm just gonna have fun with it.
Nice.
And play PlayStation Vita while these movies are on.
Wait, aren't a bunch of them on Disney Plus now? Because they own Fox?
Yeah, some of them are, but like Last Stand's not for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty
They're
sure.
still working on the rights.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who knows? All right. Well, this isn't an X-Men podcast as much as I'd love it to be. And this is a TV podcast. And Joe, for anybody who is now sad that we're not talking about X-Men anymore and is new to First and Last, what is this podcast?
Are we gonna get copyright stricken?
Yeah, Jimmy's screwing us right now.
This whole part is being censored. We're gonna have to give up our Blue Apron money for this episode. Give it to charity.
Yeah, that's how copyright strikes work.
Yeah,
you did bad. Give it a trip.
More like Manscaped money. That's like the only ad I hear anymore.
I don't know.
Stop giving them airtime until they pay us. Joe, what is this podcast about?
I don't listen to podcasts. It's a TV pod. We take a TV show each week and watch and analyze the first and the last episode and nothing in between. It's usually shows we haven't seen, so we like just watch the first and skip right to the end and see like what happened. You guys ever do that with like a book? Like you like read the beginning a little bit and then skip to the end to see like what the last page says?
Constantly.
Yeah. I've done that exactly one time with the last Harry Potter book.
Yeah. So
I also read the very first chapter of the first Harry Potter book. So really, I did that to the whole series.
The first and lasted Harry Potter. Well,
we're gonna get some hate messages about that. I bet.
So yeah, that's the gimmick here. And I think I picked the show this week, and I think it's a show I don't know that any of us like watched regularly, but we're all familiar with it, and I feel like we've referenced it on this podcast a lot. So it'll be interesting to see the first and last.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, we will be.
What's the show you picked?
I have picked Mad About You.
Yes.
Starring Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt.
Oh man. So this we've like looked for this. I know that I have like actively sought this show several times and not found it. So it's finally streaming on something.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, and I actually found it because I was just like browsing shows on Amazon, and I saw that they made like a revival of this show, like 12 episodes in like 2019.
No
like
way.
for Amazon. But then I looked it up and saw that they do have the original run on Amazon as well.
Excellent.
How long did original run go? Do you know, Joe?
7 seasons from 92 to 99. No, 8 seasons.
Can't count, but that's fine.
Yeah, for some reason there was like a different theme song for the last season. I don't know.
176 episodes.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Episodes. Oh man. I've definitely when I was a young lad, because when was this originally on? 99? No.
92 to 99.
92 to 99. Yeah, so somewhere in that me being like 7 to 10 area, while it was kind of middle of its thing, I definitely remember I had a TV in my room, and Mad About You was like on sometimes at like 9 or 10 p.m. I think.
Yeah, for some reason, whatever time slot it was, I definitely saw this quite a bit as a like preteen as well.
Yeah, are they in?
Unless it was reruns.
Are they in New York in this show? Does New York sound right?
I think so. I feel like all of these NBC shows, like Friends, Seinfeld, Caroline in the City, they're like all just like shows about being in New York.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing I really remember, so it's Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. I don't remember their names. They're married. They have a dog. It's like a lab of some sort, I believe. And then like Paul has like some friend that he has that hangs out with them, and then like I think Helen has like some female friend that like they are friends with, and then it's just them doing sitting around in the apartment doing sitcom stuff, right? Did I do it? Are we done?
Yeah, we nailed it. I don't even remember the friend, but yeah, I think it's just like a young married couple in New York.
Yeah.
Different
like
from like a Seinfeld, because it's not focused on friends, it's focused on like a relationship.
Uh-huh.
And I guess same difference from Friends also, because it's not Friends.
Right. I'm trying to think of what like the catalyst for the show is, you know? I mean, is the first episode just like, hey, this is a married couple in New York. We're going to follow them around for 8 seasons. Or like, I don't know, did they just move there? Did they have a friend that just moved there? So then that's why this established couple potentially is helping them out or something.
Maybe they just got married.
Maybe they're newlyweds.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I never thought they were that young, but I was like a kid, so I think they were probably our age now. Like, that's what they're supposed to be in this show.
Yeah, I would guess.
And
they're
so
in
I think as like
30s.
a 7 to 10-year-old, I was like, those are old people living in New York. So that's going to be sad when I now see Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser from 1992 and be like, oh, they're so young.
Paul Reiser looking like a baby.
Oh, man.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy, you saw this show every once in a while? Like,
yeah,
your dad have it on?
Somebody, I don't know, my dad, my mom, somebody, at some point, for some reason, this show was on, and I remember thinking it was funny. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how I would have understood whatever humor was happening in this show. But do love me some Paul Reiser, you know? He's in Stranger Things now.
Is he in like some sort of superhero movie as like an accountant or something? I feel like Paul Reiser would be in like a Marvel movie, but like he doesn't do anything, you know? He's like the guy that helps them do stuff.
I do not believe he's in a Marvel movie. I think I would know that. Oh, that's right. He's Burke in Aliens.
That's weird, right?
He's the douche who basically screws them all in Aliens.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He's like
the
from The Company. Isn't that what they're called? The Company? Anyway.
Could be. Sounds right to me. But
it's like 89.
I'm not a Paul Reiser aficionado.
Why not? 86.
Maybe I will become one. Okay, so here's the deal. Paul Reiser is, now that I said it, I'm going to just make him, he's an accountant in New York City. He's pretty lame. His wife, Helen Hunt, probably named, I don't know, like Susan, is, she's some sort of art student or graduate. Maybe she runs an art gallery. And then they have a puppy. I don't remember the dog's name is. Let's say his name is Sparky. And they have a friend who from their hometown of Columbus, Ohio, just moved to New York. And so the first episode is them getting into town with baggage, their bags, and maybe some emotional baggage as well.
Oh.
And then silly things ensue. Maybe they're trying to hide something from their friend. Like, Paul just, I don't know. I was going to say, like, they just found out they're pregnant, but, like, that's no way that's happening in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then that's just that. It's just, like, silly apartment antics with their brand new friend who will become a reoccurring character on the show. Boom. Reason to be there, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? First episode. What's going to happen?
I think they're not married yet, and there's like conflict with like Helen's, what did you call her, Susan? Sure, why not? her like family or something. Like they can't know. They're like living in sin. She's like moving in. I think that's the conflict. What did you say?
Paul, when you gonna marry Susan? That's like one of their moms.
So Sparky, what kind of dog do you think Sparky is?
I think he's like a lab, like a golden retriever maybe or something.
In New York. Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger dog that shouldn't probably be living in like a tiny New York apartment. A dog that needs a yard is exactly the kind of dog I think it is.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, right away I can tell you I'm pretty impressed. The first episode has a title.
Wow. Way to go. Way to go, Paul Reiser. Apparently he's one of the creators of this show as well.
He's one of the writers of the theme song, too.
Really?
Paul
I
Reiser?
cannot remember the theme song.
Oh, I feel like the theme song is the only thing I remember about this show.
Yeah, the theme song's banging, Jimmy. Wait for it. I got it in my head. Yeah, wow, created by Paul Reiser. Guy really wanted a job. All right. Oh, well, I mean, hey. We got some ideas. We know who's in it. Well, at least 2 people. Let's find out what happens in this first episode, and then we'll go over that. The first episode was called, I went away from it. It was called Romantic Improvisations. Could Jimmy be right? Could they be hiding, not being married? Find out
hope
next.
so.
We'll be back after that. We're back. We're done with the first episode of Mad About You. And Jimmy, I got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Tell me, you got a write-up for... no, I don't. I can't do the... Now, before you give us a write-up, though, like, come on. That intro song. It's a banger.
Great. Yeah.
Did you instantly remember it, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, once the lyrics started, it was all familiar, but I wouldn't have been able to recall it off the top of my head if you asked.
I will say that in the era of like intro songs becoming short or just like almost non-existent, like Lost is always like the example that I like think about when people learn that you don't want a 45-second, minute-long like song introducing the show every single time, like TGIF did and whatnot back in the day. But sometimes those old ones, like Mad About You, they're really great to hear every once in a while. But 167 episodes worth of like a minute of a song, that's too much. Mm-hmm. You got a write-up for us then?
Yeah, I do. So season 1, episode 1 of Mad About You, Romantic Improvisations. Paul and Jamie Buckman? Is that right? Butchman, probably.
It's probably Butchman.
They're young, urban newlyweds who try to sustain their marital bliss while sidestepping the hurdles of love in the 90s. When their planned evening alone turns into an impromptu dinner party, Paul and Jamie prove to be very resourceful in finding quality time together. When they bang it out in the kitchen.
As they do.
All of their guests.
Yeah, I mean, right away, it's kind of like, oh, wow, that was when they were banging in the kitchen and they were throwing pots and there was like maybe like a little hint at a moan. I was like, this is an NBC show?
Yeah.
In the 90s?
Well, I think it's okay. It's okay because they're married.
Oh. So if this is a first date, that would not have been acceptable, is what you're saying?
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
No, they're married, so it's square with the Lord.
Oh, man.
It's okay to bang it out while 4 of your friends are in the other room.
This was probably the most, approved, like, homey show on the network at night. Like, this kind of stuff happened all the time on Friends, and no one was married.
Yeah, I guess. Even Frasier's getting it in with a lot of ladies, and he's not married.
It's true.
It was the hair, though. That's what got Frasier all that, all that play.
The Frasier cut.
The Reiser
The
cut.
frullet.
Women, it's undeniable.
Oh man.
First impressions. What do you guys think about rewatching a little bit of Mad About You?
I mean,
Was it good?
my like impression from like the first 5 minutes is that it's wild to see, like a show where there's like a couple talking about how they can't like find any like time to themselves. Like,
Oh, when all we have is that exact scenario.
yeah.
Right now is,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I haven't been alone in a year.
But and yet you've been so alone in the whole year.
Oh my God.
Those are my inner problems, not for the world to know, Joe.
So
But yeah, it just like a couple cannot like. There's just people coming over all the time, and like they cannot find time for just the two of them. That's pretty funny to watch in well, I guess not 2020 anymore, but 2021 now.
Yeah, still interesting though, for sure.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the central conflict. Is they're married. The
magic is gone.
The magic is gone, and they've got all these things going on with their jobs and careers and their friends and family. They got to deal with a dog. Exactly.
We never heard the dog's name, did we?
No. I don't think so. I think they just
He
called
was
him
just
the dog.
laying on the ground next to their friend
Selby.
Selby.
Everyone's got a Selby. Every man's got a Selby.
Like a bachelor, like a gross bachelor friend who won't leave.
Yeah, Selby is Paul Reiser's like single friend. And he's still like very much a bachelor. Now that I think about it, I don't think I have a Selby, but I think I've definitely like been the Selby to a lot of different couples.
Yeah.
Or like they're like either married or like in, you know, long-term relationship, and I'm like friends with both of them, but I'm just here hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one weird thought about being in a long-term relationship, which we all are in, that I thought was weird to me, and maybe I'm an insane person, but they both got up at the exact same time, and they both went to bed at the exact same time, and that baffles me.
Yeah. Even in, you know, aside from that, in the morning they like sync up their morning routine, and they're both catching the subway at the same time.
Yeah, they were both like trying to wait. Like he was like, "Oh my God, why aren't you like ready to go?" And it's like, you're not even going to the same spot.
Yeah, you're not even like
not.
It's not like you're driving together.
Yeah, you're not driving for sure, right? You're in New York.
Yeah, like
You're almost for surely not even driving.
yeah, like if you gotta go, you can just go. She'll catch the next train. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and like for the most part, it's probably even would be odd if they were even taking the same train.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Probably not.
Yeah.
But-
No, I mean, me and Claire have completely separate schedules.
Yeah, I have I'm on the opposite as well. I couldn't imagine me and Lindsay would both be like, we'd hate each other if we like one of us was going to bed at the time the other one wanted to, kind of thing.
Or even just like had to shower like in and around the same time.
Yeah, it's like the beauty of it. It's like completely different schedules. Like, you know, it's
nice.
within, you know, it's within an hour ish, kind of like a couple hours depending on the day.
Because
But it's like that frees everything up. I've had roommates and I've woken up, you know, for like work at the same time, and it's just like, get out of it's my bathroom time.
Travis.
I wasn't gonna say his name, Jimmy.
I hope you're listening.
But I hope you're listening,
you Selby.
Travis.
I was gonna say, I think I
total
spent
Selby. Oh man.
Selby move. I think I spent my 20s being a Selby to somebody. To several couples.
Yeah, to several. Once you're a Selby to one couple, you're a Selby to like several.
Yeah, you're just the royal Selby to the world, you know.
Yeah, because once Selby leaves, he's being Selby to somebody else.
Exactly. Also, then we, before we kind of get into like I guess the meat and potatoes of the episode, their New York apartment is insane.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
Much
classic,
bigger than
classic '90s New York apartment, just huge.
That kitchen.
It's supposed to be Manhattan, right? So
I'm just like trying to figure out how expensive an apartment with the kitchen the size of like 2 bedrooms. And then their living room that had like a dining room, a sitting area, and like a TV sitting area, like all again, which is big enough for Selby to bike in circles.
He's biking around.
That alone.
I don't have that much room in my apartment here.
Yeah,
like
there's enough space in the kitchen for 7 people to like congregate.
Yeah. Oh, there'd be no problem either.
Yeah.
It's not like they'd be shoulder to shoulder either. Everyone would be spread out. They could all like have their arms wide and not touch anybody.
Mm-hmm.
There's huge.
There's enough space for sex.
Yeah.
That's already bigger than a New York kitchen.
Jimmy, there was enough space for an orgy in that kitchen.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's how big it was.
Yeah, there was.
Hey, Jimmy, if they were all married, it would be fine, though. So
all married to each other?
Whatever. Hey, no judgment here, man. I don't care who you marry.
All right.
I don't care if you marry a duck or 10 people. I don't care. Whatever.
This is a commune.
All
right. Should we name some characters?
Yeah, let's do that.
So we have Paul Reiser, who plays Paul. Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Classic 90s sitcom. We have Helen Hunt, who is Jamie, right? I didn't actually write that down, but I'm pretty sure I read that.
Yeah, why does Paul get to keep his name, but Helen's got to change her name? Fight the patriarchy.
Yeah, right.
What
That's
the
some
fuck is this
patriarchy
shit?
bullshit right there.
Yeah, she could just as easily be a Helen. Jamie is not any better than Helen.
I don't want to offend any of our Paul viewers out there, but like Helen's a better name than Paul, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Shove it, Paul. Thanks for
Helen
listening.
Hunt
Keep
also,
going, Jimmy.
She's one of those people, like, her name could just always be Helen in everything. She's the same character in everything she's ever been in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You can at me about that. Tweeterverse. Okay, then we have Sister Lisa, who's kind of neurotic.
Not a nun. She's just Helen Hunt's sister in the show.
Sister Lisa.
Helen Hunt, Sister Lisa. The good sister. And she's played by Anne Ramsey, who is Helen in A League of Their Own.
Oh.
Are we just watching a bunch of shows with A League of Their Own people in it?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago we watched Monk with what's her character? That she's the one who's there's no crying in baseball, but Helen, she's the one who she can't read in A League of Their Own.
Yeah. But we also watched
And they teach her how to read and write.
Glow that had Gina Davis in it too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow. What season is this? This is A League of Their Own season?
Season 7, A League of Their Own.
We need to do a Tom Hanks series at some point.
I guess we just named the first and lasties. First and lasties 7, A League of Their Own.
Yeah. Is Madonna
right.
in a series? I'm sure she is. Then we have so we mentioned Selby, Paul's bachelor friend. Then we have their friends who we're not really sure where they're coming from. Neither of them, they don't seem to really be very close with this couple, but yet they're considered friends and invite them to dinner parties. And that's Mark and Fran, and Mark is played by Richard Kind, which is fun.
Yeah, I like that.
So hopefully we see, and he's just like in every sitcom that's ever been made, I assume.
It's about right.
He's also, isn't he, is he Ham in the Toy Story movies? I'll look it up.
Yeah. Okay. So that was everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the episode starts out with them, like Helen or Jamie, sorry, is like we haven't done it in a while, and then they kind of start, and then they figure out that they're supposed to have their friends over tonight. They kind of decide that they're gonna cancel that so they can bang. That's pretty much like the premise of what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the issue comes later when Paul gets home and her sister's there, and then they have just like this really petty fight. I feel like, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I've never had a fight like that before. That's just, it seemed so useless and didn't matter. And he was like, I'm gonna call Selby and make him come over because you have your sister over, and I'm just salty and have low self-esteem or something. I don't know. I was like, chill out, dude. Like, she's gonna leave, everything's gonna be fine. But then it happens to be that neither one of them called Mark and Fran and canceled. So Mark and Fran showed up for their dinner party date thing, and now they have all 4 of their friends over for dinner. So they have sex in the kitchen instead.
Well, and like Helen Hunt like had planned this like frozen lasagna that like clearly is like a 2-person frozen lasagna.
Right.
I was planning to make that, and all of a sudden there's 8 people there. No, 6, right? Yeah.
There were 6 people.
So she's like taking a rolling pin to it to try to flatten this frozen lasagna out, which appeared to be working, although I don't know how good it would be anymore. It's flatter.
Flat frozen lasagna.
Definitely flatter. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, I think in the end when they after they did it in the kitchen and everyone left and like everything kind of worked out okay and they were like back in love and they like understood that, you know, hey, sometimes your life gets busy. And that's really it. Like, there's no problem here whatsoever.
Yeah, I was trying to gather what like the lesson, or like not even lesson, but like what was the progression here in this story, and it didn't really seem like anything really.
Right, and that, I guess that's what I was trying to do, and that's why maybe I'm like, my thought process is going where it is right now, because I was trying to like make it back and make it like substantial enough to, instead of just saying like this couple had a petty fight and then they got over it because hopefully they understood that this is silly. But I was like, maybe they're only 5 months married, like they said, and there's just so much passion in their relationship that, like, you know, they just get worked up, and that's why they can like do it on the kitchen island and like then fall back in love or whatever. It's just like they just like the heat, like it just
too much heat.
It's like electricity. It's too much, you know. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's that. But I mean, the show itself was funny, but as an adult now watching it, I'm like, chill out, guys. Come on, this is fine. It's either passion or it's a bad marriage, right? Like it's the.
I think it's because I feel like it was almost not really like, it wasn't a fight in the sense that it wasn't like something that one of them had done to the other. It was more of just like, when it's just them, things are fine, but when there's a whole lot of other stuff going around, it gets stressful.
Yeah.
And
so they were dealing with regular life.
Yeah. And I feel like that was maybe, you know, not a lesson, but like the idea that I took out of it was like, you know, this is going to be a show about how like shit gets hectic in life, but as long as you have each other, like, it's fine. Like, you deal with it. You roll out a lasagna, and you make do.
Sometimes you got to roll that lasagna out, you know?
Yeah.
Roll it out.
I mean, all in all, good though. Good show. Maybe it's nostalgia talking, but I enjoyed it. So,
I mean, Helen Hunt is like clearly the star here. Like, Paul Reiser is fine, but like Helen Hunt is like hilarious. There's that part where she's doing an impression of Paul Reiser like
Yeah.
trying to order
Yeah.
a soup, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
And yeah, you get introduced to all these characters, and they have like a distinct place where they fit within the like social hierarchy of the show, and you can kind of see where things are going.
Yeah. Obviously a sitcom, so like really there's no driving plot by any means to like push you to the like, oh, the Nazis took over their apartment. We got to figure out what happens next episode. Like that's not a thing. But I mean, yeah, they introduced a lot of characters, and you're like, cool, we're gonna just see a lot of like tomfoolery now, and it'll be good. Also, I thought I kind of got Paul Reiser's delivery was very like Seinfeldian at points. But the only thing he was missing was like smirking after every line, like Seinfeld does on the show.
Yeah, where he like knows he's making a joke.
Yeah. I don't really have a problem with that, but I've just like pretty much always have some Seinfeld on at some point during a week. So like I'm pretty fluent in Seinfeld. So I was like,
Sure.
huh.
You have a Seinfeld sensitivity?
I do. I can feel it. Someone in the world, someone's watching Seinfeld.
I mean,
right now.
Paul Reiser was also a stand-up comedian in the 90s in New York, so he might have picked up some stuff.
Right. Yeah, part of me was like, is this a Seinfeld thing, or is this just like
Just
a
New York
comedian
stand-up.
delivery type thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't, want to have to be the person to bring this up, but saw a lot of Paul Reiser's nipples in this episode.
And chest hair, yeah.
Started and finished the episode with a half-naked Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Are you complaining, or what? What's wrong?
I'm not complaining.
He's like the Matthew McConaughey of 90s sitcoms. Gotta have a shirt off.
Put a shirt on. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was worth saying. Put a shirt on.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm just kidding. Free the nipple.
free Paul's
the-
nipples.
I've
Free
had
the
I've had
Reiser's
enough.
nipples.
Funnily enough, like for as much shirtless Paul Reiser we saw, like the scene where he did have a shirt was the sex scene.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Kept his clothes on.
It's a weird thing he does though. He can't have sex without a shirt on. It's his thing.
But he sleeps shirtless.
It's like a reverse never nude.
Yeah.
Isn't always
He's wearing
nude.
he's wearing
Except for sex.
a Canadian tuxedo at all times.
Love it.
Do we have any more things, or should we get into predictions?
I was just gonna check back in on the Richard Kind thing. Was way off. It was a totally different Disney Pixar that he's in. He's in Inside Out. I was thinking of because Ham is John Ratzinger, right? He's Cliff from Cheers.
Yeah, okay.
But T-Rex I think is who I was thinking of, but that's Wallace Shawn, who is he's like Vizzini in Princess Bride and stuff.
He was
Which
in
similar voices.
He played Bookworm in Toy Story 3. That's what Wikipedia says.
Oh, Toy Story 3, Bookworm.
Yeah, I don't
The
remember
hell
who
is
that is.
Bookworm?
No idea.
Huh.
Cool. Well, so I
Predictions?
wasn't way off.
No, hey, you're fair. Joe, can you explain what we did a little special for predictions here tonight?
Yeah. When I was researching the show, I accidentally read the description for the finale episode, just like the Amazon one sentence description. And I thought it'd be
For
more
part one.
for part one. It's a two-parter. And I thought it'd be more fun to like that all of us know that description for the last episode before we actually make our predictions, because it does kind of inform like just the setting a little bit. So the last two episodes are called The Final Frontier Part 1 and 2. And the description for Part 1 says, in 2028. Now remember, this show actually aired May 23rd, 1999. This finale aired. But so it says in 2028, Paul and Jamie's daughter reflects on her first 29 years of life. So it's a 29-year-old in 2028, like reflecting on the events of her life from essentially the year 2000 on to 8 years from now.
2000. Yeah.
So we get to see some future stuff.
Great. Before we do predictions, also right away when the show started and we were listening to the theme song, they say like, "We'll take you to the final frontier" or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was right when I heard that again, I was like, one of my predictions is going to be they go to the final frontier.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, oh
Star
shit,
Trek episode.
Joe made me look at the last episode, and that's what it's called. I don't know what that prediction would have meant. I didn't make it. I do have a special prediction based on that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to do mine right now. How about that?
Yeah.
Number one.
blimp
So based on
spaceship.
memories, I feel like I see Paul Reiser as a baseball man.
Okay.
And I think I think they have a memory of Paul Reiser at a baseball game.
Okay.
Number two, Paul Reiser. Well, Paul and Jamie, by the end of these two, they're both dead.
Oh.
Well, that's
So
not true. That can't be
2028?
true. That can't be true. Never mind.
Why can't it not
Why,
be true?
it tw-
why not?
Oh, they could be dead then.
2028?
I'm just saying, well, because
So it's
I was thinking
30 years after the
well,
finale.
there's a 2019 like
The revival.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure.
and I don't know when that takes place, I guess, but I guess they can't be dead.
Before 2028. Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, they could die in 2028.
All right, I'm sticking with it. They're both dead.
Okay.
They could have 10 more seasons before they die, dude.
Yeah, I totally could.
Fair enough. I think I'm okay.
You're okay.
They're both
More
dead.
now.
Number two, I think there's a scene in one of the finales episodes where someone gets covered like in goo or like sauce or liquid
Sauce.
or like Nickelodeon slime. I don't know.
Okay.
Like someone
They get
gets
slimed.
someone gets slimed essentially
Okay.
by
Join
something.
Double Dare.
Not a little spill, like they get gooed
All
from
right.
the top down.
We'll be the judge of that.
Number four, blimp / hot air balloon.
Okay.
Because I feel like a hot air balloon's a little bit more likely, but so I'm adding that.
Perfect strangers, Josh.
I know. Okay. I added a fifth one. Deal with it. I'm going with it because this blimp one's never happening, so I'm adding another one. My fifth one is directed solely at the fact that this episode is called The Final Frontier. There is a Patrick Stewart cameo. Because space is the final frontier.
They did have a lot
These
of cameos.
are the voyages
I hope
of the
so.
Star Trek Mad About You Enterprise.
That's a different network, though. But
I understand
but I want
that.
to see it.
I don't think he's on as Captain Picard. I just think that Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
makes an appearance.
Pat Stew himself.
Yeah, Pat Stew.
Sir Pat Stew.
So those
Sir Patty Stew. Yikes. All right, Joe,
those
you
are
want to
mine.
go?
Those are mine.
Yeah, I'll go. Patty Stew, mad about you. Got it. I have that. It's a very. We were talking about in the first part that there's just a lot of New York shows on NBC at this point. So I think they lean more into the New Yorkness, and somebody gets a New York slice, possibly Sbarro. I think in kind of their futuristic stuff, I think someone uses a video phone. I think that's the type of technology they were
Ooh.
envisioning up in 1999. I think there's a reference to President Ricky Martin. I think that's something that they would have dreamed up in 1999.
Gross.
And I think they had mentioned that Paul was a filmmaker of some sort in the first episode.
Sure seemed so. He had a lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
electronics.
he definitely mentioned editing till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think Paul wins an Oscar.
Ooh, nice.
Has Has he ever won an Oscar?
I don't
in
think
real
so.
life?
I think so. That's my 4.
Maybe an
Cool.
Emmy. Yeah, he had like a whole wall of small, different sized tube TVs and VHS, no, VCRs is what I was looking for. Okay, so I'm assuming based on this daughter looks back thing that it's just a big clip show, just 2 episodes of clip show. We're watching both, right? You said
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're watching both.
aired the same day. So I think
Correct.
we see the daughter doing various things. So I think we see her learning to ride a bike in busy New York, so that would be interesting. I think we see daughter goes to prom, like fast forward to high school. I think we see daughter getting married, and maybe that's like this part of this actual like real time, and then I think maybe I assume clip show is a dog funeral,
Oh,
because there ain't no way that dog lived 40 years or whatever.
kill the people. Don't kill the dog.
There's got to be a wedding. There's got to be a funeral. If it's not Jamie and Paul, it's mystery dog.
You gotta be the dog. So sad. All right, cool. Well, let's get into it then. Let's watch the final 2-parter episode of Mad About You. It was called The Final Frontier. Also, just fun fact, directed by and written by
Patrick
Helen
Stewart.
Hunt.
Oh, cool.
Paul Reiser and Victor Levin, they also helped write it, but it was fully directed by Helen Hunt, according to Wikipedia, which is dope.
Cool.
So, all right, we'll get into that. We'll see you after that. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt in the starship Mad About You. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yeah. Here's what I have for the whole 2-parter episode. Flash forward a number of years, Mabel is a grown filmmaker showing a documentary of her parents' lives over the past 20 years. Married or not, separated or not, Mabel blames her parents for her own current life. That's the IMDb.
Mabel needs to take some responsibility for herself.
Yeah, I mean, and she does at the very end. She's like, but I'm actually, I'm cool. Don't worry. But yeah, this was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot that goes on. I don't know if you guys, did you take notes, or we might need to find a better write-up?
Yeah, so instantly Paul and Jamie find out they run into this guy who ministered their wedding, and turns out he was not a real minister, and their whole married life has been illegitimate. And so then it's basically kind of unravels from there. They decide it's their anniversary that day. They decide to go find a justice of the peace, who is Tim Conway, who's a legend and is hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
He's in like McHale's Navy in like the 60s. I mean, these guys, he's been around. And then right before they're saying I do at the whatever DMV, I don't know where they are. Jamie leaves Paul at the altar after 7 years and a child. Is that right?
Yep. Just, she I feel like she was like being superstitious about it. She was like, I was thinking about it too hard, and like everything up until now has worked out while we're not married, so maybe we don't need to be married, and like I don't think it's a good idea. She's a little neurotic, but that's just her character,
Classic Jamie. She's overthinking it. Why are
Question
you overthinking it?
Question with you guys, because in my mind they were like, oh, we're not really married. We thought we were married this whole time. I mean, number one is like they try to cover their bases. Like we didn't really fill out the paperwork when we got like officially married like that one time. And it's like, then you just like, you knew you weren't married then, right? Like you didn't ever fill out real paperwork to be married.
Yeah.
Like,
but she somehow got her name changed still.
Yeah. Right. It's like you do that. Okay. So, yeah. So it doesn't really add up. It's sitcom add up. Sitcom adds up. But
sitcom math.
I mean, so like you were married 5 years from now. If you found out that you like somehow aren't really married, is your whole life illegitimate now? Like somehow, like is it the end of the world? Or,
I mean, if something did like screw up, like all that stuff, that's in the mail. So like, as far as the state knows, we're married. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're married in your hearts, right? You know.
I married I married a couple, and like I thought like, am I like legitimate like to do this? Cause the paperwork that I got wasn't super like I don't super know that I'm can actually, but the whole power invested in me thing. Like, I feel like what I got from the state was not super official looking and legitimate.
So what you're saying is you might be doing this to a couple currently?
I'm more nervous about marrying other people than I am about my own marriage. I'll just say that what I got was more official for my marriage.
So you're someone's Selby and someone's Lenny?
And in all fairness, Jimmy, here's the deal. I signed your marriage papers.
Oh, that's right. So it's your fault.
So if you're not married, it's probably because I wrote PP McButtface as my signature on your marriage certificate. Did not read that when I did that?
Yeah.
I mean it's a big deal in a way, but it's also just like kind of like mostly I would feel a non-issue and like a comical like, that's ridiculous. I mean, obviously we're married, but like I guess we'll just have to go get something signed eventually again.
I mean, if you really want to get into it and it's like, oh, according to the government, we're not married, then it's like you probably got tax breaks and stuff. You probably owe money now.
For 7 years, they were filing their taxes as being married. Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, you didn't get audited yet?
I mean, who gets audited,
I don't know. All my friends don't lie on their taxes, as far as I know.
Psh. Everybody lies on their taxes. Nobody's getting audited. It's all rounded up.
I submit this to the court as evidence, Exhibit A for Jimmy's tax audit for 2021.
I never saved those receipts.
Yeah, I ain't got no receipts for you. So, okay, yeah, that's one. And then there's this whole vasectomy thing that they go through.
Oh, right.
Which, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways. Like, Paul gets a vasectomy, but then it's Helen and Lisa, her sister Lisa, are there, and Lisa says stuff to Helen, and like she like changes her mind while he's getting his vasectomy. Then they decide to reverse the vasectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's there again. The two ladies are there again in the waiting room. And Lisa says something to Helen that makes her want to then reverse the reversal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then presumably there's a plan then that he goes and gets his vasectomy again. So he then is back to having a vasectomy officially, but he like never does it. And he like lies about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
apparently
super messed up, right?
Yeah, it seems like an important thing to just kind of gloss over. It's like, oh yeah, I got that done.
Like that's some like crime stuff, isn't it though? Like it's not even like maybe in late 90s that can be a comedic thing, but like I don't think like lying about getting a vasectomy is comedy.
Yeah, lying about birth control.
Yeah, that becomes some sort of like literal crime.
Yeah. Well, and like it's not like she would know if he had a surgery and like was recovering. She would have to drive him to and from the hospital.
Yeah. I mean, you would think. I mean, I know in like 2020, like vasectomies are like you go in, you walk out kind of thing. But like, who knows in like the late 90s, early 2000s, like what the maybe he probably needs help. He's walking like he needs help in the other two scenes.
Yeah, that's what I'm basing it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff happens that's like a few years later, 2005 or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamie finds out because so the whole time, what's her name? Mabel, played by
Janine Garofalo.
Yeah, she's telling all of this. She's like narrating and I mean, and you see her as well. And all of this is kind of not in a sequential, like chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
It's jumping all over the place, which is interesting. And then, so then at some point, because there's also like intermixed, like fun, happy memories of childhood. Like the dog had puppies and they're like making little tapes to like come get a puppy, you know. And interspliced with all of a sudden Jamie finds out that he didn't get the reversal vasectomy because she's pregnant, and now she's like pissed and probably really scared and like
I think she said remarkably pregnant, which I think was like a funny way to describe levels of
Helen
pregnancy.
Yeah. Very great way to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's pregnant.
She loses it.
Mm-hmm.
Do things happen in between? There's like a comedic thing where their apartment is mistakenly, like in like an open house thing or something. People keep coming to see their apartment, which is not actually, they're not.
Yeah.
moving.
I don't know 100% sure if this is right, but that British couple that came over at one point, they were like, "Oh, is it true you're moving out?" I feel like they're like their neighbors, but instead of like a Kramer situation like Seinfeld, they're like they don't get along at all, and it's like this like back and forth between their neighbors, and I think it's a thing that their neighbors want their apartment. If I am remembering that right. There was a lot of people, like in the first episode, I was like, I don't recognize a lot of these people besides like Mark and Fran. Like Selby, I didn't really recognize him. And then in this episode, like the guy that was like doing Mabel's first like movie with the dogs, who was at the little table. And then that guy, they didn't really say his name, but his name is Ira.
Is that Paul's brother?
Is that who that is? I don't know what
like
their relationship
cousin,
is.
I think.
Oh, cousin.
Because he had referred to Paul's mom as Aunt something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when the show was on and I was a young lad and happened to be on TV every once in a while, those are the people in this show that I remember. So
all the extra characters, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the vasectomy, pregnancy, miscarriage storyline. And then there's also the storyline about where Paul's dad passes away.
Right.
And like his mother is now a widow. And that's kind of like a smaller just like vignette that happens in the middle, like where they're at the funeral, something happens with the apartment. And then there's like
they move to the British people's apartment.
because
it's bigger.
I don't know that I just kind of left it there because I don't really know what I have to say about that other than like that was a thing that happened because it was just
that like funeral thing was kind of like, oh, also his dad's dead. Like it was just like trying to add like some sad stuff on to like their eventual like separation that pretty much came next, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out because I think that his dad passing away was like 2015. And then is the next thing them splitting up?
Yeah,
maybe chronologically, I think that would be it. Yeah,
because I guess the last thing that we see in flashback is 2021 when Mabel has a movie premiere that Jamie and Paul are at, and it seems like they hadn't seen each other in a long time, and they kind of get back together at the premiere. But
yeah,
I couldn't place how long it's been since they split up.
Yeah. Probably a few years.
No, I don't think I could either.
I was thinking maybe it wasn't that long. Like maybe it was just like for a few months or something.
Okay.
But
yeah,
it's
like very hard to tell. I
tried to find like a better write-up with some timeline stuff, but I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
Guess I'll have to watch it again.
Yep. When you go through and watch all of Mad About You, let us know.
But yeah, at some point they split up, and Paul leaves Jamie because he had said that she had turned unkind and she had changed.
They were not super kind to each other in the pilot.
It was passion, Jimmy. It's all about passion.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, and then they get back together at the premiere, and it kind of similar to the first episode. I'm not really sure. Like there is a conflict out of something I'm not really sure, and then it gets resolved in a way that I'm not really sure about.
I mean, Joe, it helps if you watch the whole show, but like, who's got time for that kind of crap?
I guess, but I also guess I assume that they're like mostly, happy together for the majority of the show. If they don't split up until
I don't think
20 years after the show ends.
Yeah, I would assume in like the third to last episode, they're not like there's inklings of them breaking up. Let's talk about it more. Like, yeah, I don't think any of that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily that important how long they were separated or whatever. I think it's just like the fact that it happened and then they seemingly got back together because love conquers all. I think the show ended in like a pretty like, oh, everyone's happy. Like they raised their kid and their kid's like eccentric and it's funny and blah, blah, blah. But the whole meat and potatoes of the episode was a very different kind of like sitcom finale. Very like serious comedy. Is that a genre? Serious comedy?
Mm-hmm.
Dramedy.
I gotcha.
Just dramedy, really, in a way. And I think I liked it just because it felt a lot different than like, anything like Friends isn't going to do that. Like Seinfeld, Frasier didn't do it. It felt like really serious, but just like hints of funny within it. But it felt more serious than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think bouncing around between the different timelines while I didn't get all of it quite straight, I think that worked to kind of keep it flowing.
Yeah.
I was going to say it kind of reminded me of the finale of How I Met Your Mother, where they jump, they kind of do the same thing where they go from where the finale leaves off and skip ahead years and just like kind of touch on things that happened over those decades. Although I think it was just done better in Mad About You with maybe the balance that you were talking about, where it was drama with like bits of comedy. Whereas I think the How I Met Your Mother finale was more of comedy with like random bits of drama that were just thrown in out of nowhere.
I guess I would assume that Janine Garofalo was only in these 2 episodes of the show.
Right. I would think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't
be, but
even
like the teen was like only in these.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would assume that as well. But like just Janine Garofalo's like her, just only her like talking to the camera as if it was her like documentary that she was making.
Mm-hmm.
I think just like that, like acting that she did, like being funny and like over and just being like an extravagant like child that I was like, my parents fucked me up, but this is the story of them. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like her kind of like stuff. And then going into like serious stuff that was happening with like Paul and Jamie. I think that's what like really helped it like flow and be funny, but then let it be serious in the flashbacks, I guess, or flashbacks.
Yeah, maybe it is that structure of having a host or narrator that helps.
That's what I was trying to say. The structure worked well for me.
Yeah. Great job, Helen Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, for a sitcom finale, there's a lot to direct here. So,
yeah,
for a sitcom finale, it felt like it had a little bit more substance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like just the fact that scenes were out of chronological order, which is why it's kind of hard to piece together after just watching it. But like it was all held together by narrator, and then also it was always centered around, it always was coming back to Mabel's like film premiere, whatever it was, because we like saw a little blip of that, of the like sister and people like family members arriving there and talking about how they're gonna like make Paul and Jamie sit together because they've been separated. And then several scenes go by, and then they actually come, and it's awkward, and they sit down by each other, and then several scenes go by, and that whole part is like kind of the whole plot of the show is really like, that's the main part, is that they meet again, and that they like kiss and get back together in the theater, but like so much else happens during that like one scene spread out over 2 episodes. Yeah, well done. Into it. What else has she directed?
I don't know. I wonder if she directed episodes of like the revival from 2019.
Yeah, I bet.
Good question. Yeah, I like when actors seem to start like a show, and then as the show goes on, like in later seasons, some of those actors become like directors and writers, and like they start doing that on their own show, and then if they like it, obviously, then in later years you see them continue on that. They're like, oh, this is great. I mean, obviously, like Ron Howard's a very good example. I don't know if like he was a kid, but like, I bet he got the taste for it while
Andy Griffith.
Well, no, but yeah, obviously not when he was on the Andy Griffith show. But like he was an actor on it, and then he probably got like, oh, what are these other guys doing? I want to like learn how to do this. You know, I mean, he just wasn't old enough to be able to do it on that show, but happens a lot, and it's good to know. It's cool to see, like, because I didn't know Helen Hunt like wrote that stuff or even like directed stuff, and I was like, this is good. So, and I already thought Helen Hunt was the bomb.com. So
yeah, she's got some director credits.
Just
she
another nail in
Christmas episode of This Is Us.
Okay.
Christmas, I mean, that's a big show. All right.
That's a big Joe get. It's a holiday show, so yeah. Joe's in. Final thoughts on Mad About You? What do you guys think? Is it worth it?
I mean, I'm interested. Like I said, this show's been on my short list for a long time. But it also just kind of makes me want to watch Twister.
Oh, I wanted to watch Twister from minute 1 of this show. Yeah, for sure.
Bill Paxton. I always get him and Bill Pullman confused. But
I mean,
Bill
I would
Paxton.
say this. I'm into Mad About You. I don't think I would ever turn Mad About You off, but I'm not 100% sure I would turn it on. You know, like it seems like a good like dinner watch. You know, watch an episode while you eat dinner or something. If you're a TV family, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Asleep show.
Yeah, it was great. I've had my time with it. I watched some of it. I thought it was good. I'm really glad I got to actually like watch this last episode. It's probably where I'm going to leave Mad About You, but I would say if people are interested in it, I think it's a really good sitcom, and I think it deserves a chance if you are interested in watching it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's a very interesting first and last. Beyond that, I just don't have an impression of the show itself that I need to go watch particular episodes.
I mean, Joe, you're for sure going to now put this in your like holiday repertoire, I bet.
Yeah.
You know,
look out. St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to look up a Mad About You St. Patrick's Day episode.
Probably is.
176 episodes. I bet Mad About You has all the major holidays hit at least once. That would be my bet.
This show is definitely like, there were times in this finale at least where I was like, this is Seinfeld-esque humor, or this is like Friends, or and I definitely thought like How I Met Your Mother was.
Sorry, speaking of Friends,
yeah,
Phoebe's sister was in it.
Yeah, Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah, Lisa Kudrow, but Ursula is Phoebe's sister. I think they connected the shows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's her twin sister. Yeah.
So that's fun. So Phoebe's twin sister from Friends is their waitress, and she's a reoccurring character in the show. I do know that.
Yeah, seems so.
So.
I mean, it makes sense. It's same network.
Same city.
and those two wander into the cafe, I think, in Friends.
Oh, really?
And confuse Phoebe for Ursula. That happens. I'm pretty
Makes
sure.
sense.
So that's fun. I'm a big fan of things in the same universe, even if there's almost no overlap in reality. Just if you like understand they make it like, hey, same time, Friends and Mad About You happening around the same time. Maybe they know each other. We're not going to go any farther, and that's it. I just think those things are fun. So.
I think this show and Friends have some similar crossover stuff.
That's cool. I can flex with that. All right, cool. Let's see how we did in predictions. How about that, huh?
Ooh, yeah.
I'll go first like I did last time, and I'll just spoil it right away. I did bad. I believe I got 0. Paul Reiser has there's a baseball game and Paul Reiser is there. That didn't happen. They're both dead.
No.
They
live forever.
They're not dead yet. There's a scene. So, I mean, I'm gonna. There's a scene where someone gets covered in goo, sauce, Nickelodeon slime, whatever. Paul Reiser did get a little shoulder gooed.
It was like paint or something.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was like paint.
Like I think he thought it was bird poo at first, but it was actually paint.
That would have been a massive bird.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets gooed on the shoulder. He wasn't covered.
No.
What was your wording on the prediction?
Scene where someone gets covered in goo.
Okay. I feel like covered.
I was really I mean,
like I would give like a half for that because there was someone got gooed, but they weren't covered.
I give a half.
I'm taking a half.
Okay.
Last one was blimp or hot air balloon. That didn't happen. And Sir Patty Stew was not mad about you. He was not in this one.
Nope. Wrong cameo. Lisa Kudrow.
Pat about stew.
Not I am mad. I'm mad at Stu right now. So I'll take 0.5. Thank you for being merciful with the points.
Anytime. I had someone gets a New York slice. There was in part of the clips they were like outside a store that was advertising pizza by the slice, but they didn't actually see a slice of pizza. I had someone use a video phone, and they did have cell phone use in like 2015, I think, but wasn't a video phone. It was still a flip phone.
Yeah, got that one wrong.
Yeah. There was I get flip phones wrong. I had President Ricky Martin, and there wasn't any political references.
Yeah, I mean, you said that, by the way, but also where's Ricky Martin from?
I don't know, but I figure...
Is he eligible to be the president of the United States?
I figured they would just change the laws for Ricky Martin.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Ricky Martin,
look at this country of origin.
He might be Puerto Rican.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican.
Hey.
Oh, cool.
That counts, right?
I would
not... yes? Yeah.
I mean, it's territory?
Yeah.
I feel like it should.
Puerto Ricans are American citizens.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying yes.
So Ricky Martin is eligible. There you go.
Voting Ricky Martin.
Residents of Puerto Rico and other U.S. territories do not have voting representation in the United States Congress and are not entitled to electoral votes for president. That's not...
Which is bullshit. But
which
go
is
on.
Complete bullshit.
Nor do they get much help from the U.S. Congress.
But citizens born in Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands are legally defined as natural-born citizens and are therefore also eligible to be elected president.
Hey, you learned something tonight, listeners.
Provided they meet qualifications of age and 14 years residence within the United States. So it's possible that if you're born in Guam, Puerto Rico, or the Virgin Islands, you still have to live within the continental United
States.
States.
That's what it means?
I don't know. He's eligible, though.
He's eligible.
That's all I'm saying.
Ricky Martin,
President
2024.
President Martin.
All right. He's probably a Republican.
Live in La Vida.
You know that, right?
White House.
All right. What'd you get, Joe? Or was that your last one?
I had one more. Where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, and that Paul wins an Oscar, which no mention of Paul's career, so zero total.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. All right.
But his daughter followed in the film industry.
She did.
So that's fun. Mine were mostly based on clips, which, like, it wasn't an actual clip show, really, until the end. So daughter, we did not see Mabel riding a bike. We didn't see her going to prom. She apparently almost got married 4 times. But got married 0 times. So
correct.
So damn it. The only one I got right was that the dog is dead.
God damn it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
The only part I'm mad at, you were fist pumping on the video, and then we found out the dog was dead.
For the point. So she realizes that, like, in dog years, there's no way that she just realizes, like, as a teen, there's no way that their dog has actually been alive this whole time. That they've some point got a new dog without telling her, which is hilarious and probably impossible.
You're right. Impressive. Like, I don't think for especially a good dog, like mannerisms, they're different. You know, that'd be impressive to like actually dupe like another kid. Be like, this is your dog. And
you gotta be a pretty dumb kid.
Yeah.
That's on you.
She can do math, but she's got no street smarts.
Yeah, so 1 for me.
All right. Cool. All right, well, that'll do it for Mad About You. And we're mad about you, listeners. And if you want to be mad about us, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. You can give us show suggestions, talk to us about your life and random things, or, you know, give Jimmy pasta eating suggestions. He's always looking for new pastas to eat.
He's exhausted
Big
them all.
carb guy.
Yeah, he's big in the carbs.
My wife's Italian, so pasta every night.
So this is actually insensitive.
Also, yes.
But so hit us up if you want to do that. And also, you're listening to us on some sort of podcast thingy. If you got 3 extra seconds, get on those stars. Just randomly throw your finger at them, and whatever number of stars you hit, perfect. That's how many we deserve. And honestly, it's probably more than we do deserve. So thank you very much for even taking the time. Thank you for listening. We've got another episode for you next week. This train never stops.
Yeah.
It's like Snowpiercer. One person's going to get that reference. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Are you drinking a Pamplemousse LaCroix?
No, it is a Raz Cranberry.